You have defiled us one time too often. We are poets and we enjoy our art. So if you want to do poetry. Don't carry poetry into drama. Don't carry poetry into music. No. My God. Please don't let it get to them. So eventually they couldn't take it anymore. So they called me and they booted me out of the poetry union. And then I was accepted among the spoken word artists. So in spoken word, you can actually just speak the word. In spoken word, you don't have to follow the poetic lines. In spoken word, whatever you say that is your business is your line. Bros, please let me hear some of this, your guitar playing. Bros. Hello? You, yeah. Let me hear some of your music. Today is Sunday. And it's been like a couple of months since I got booted out of the poetry union. A bit slower. For this crime I'm about to commit again. So the poetry union said, please unite yourself with us. Because this thing where you do, it cause force between both of us. At one point, they're very good with words. Some of them started to curse. And I told them, man, chill now. Now what I speak now, I told now I lost. Let the music go a bit higher. I'm trying to catch the rhythm of your music. Because I honestly feel that the first thing God created was music. That's what I think. I believe so. Why? Because God had a choir. He had a head of choir now. He's the head of choir that thought he was so big that he tried to challenge God. So the first thing God created was music. He had the angels flapping their wings to some songs. He had some others in the corner carrying the string along. He had some using their wings to beat the drum. And then you had some, if you hear their voices, even you go numb. Those angels were singing. They were bringing the song to the voice of God. Those angels were singing. Do you know what they did? They made God even nod. Those angels are singing and they caused God to move. It's those angels that created the heavenly part of the heavenly groove. The first thing he created was music and he gave it to us. And those guys in the poetry union, they make the curse. Because I put music and poetry, spoken word, so that they can align. Because of that, they said, Mr. Topido, you have committed the crime. What kind of a crime? When you put music in the line. What kind of a crime? When you put music and tell about time. What kind of a crime? When your words turn to wine. What kind of a crime? When you cause people to align. I'm speaking the spirit. God, they know, they hear. He inhabits the praises of people. That means he's somewhere near. And that is what he does. No sirens, people will not know. Sometimes God will appear even very here at your own show. He won't wear any slippers. No sirens around. He will just blend in very quietly. He can do that. He's God in the crowd. So you do your thing. Let it sing. And you bring. And if it's music and poetry you want to do, just bring it, marry it like a ring. I like it. I like it. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. All right. All right. So the reason why I'm a spoken word artist is because I've decided that I will just speak. I believe the greatest, after time, the next best gift he gave mankind was the ability to speak. Because that ability to speak means that you can change the conditions of things. You see, God himself was very dark. God himself was very alone. And then he decided that inside that darkness and being alone, he would speak. And he could change his environment. And he gave us the capacity to do the same thing. If you notice, the first thing that catches you is your ability to speak. The first thing that breaks you is that you feel that you're actually weak. So just try this, especially from today for this whole week. Use your voice to say anything. Let yourself tweak. Don't go and be boastful. Oh. Don't go and carry your shoulder. If not, the devil and his cohorts are going to go fold you like folder. You'll be meek like sheep. You go hang like dove. And then your power will come not from you, but from up above. Ladies and gentlemen, let me introduce the next person who's going to come and tell us stories and her parts in life. Please join me as I welcome Amanda.
Yeah, that's okay. Yeah, that's fine. Hi. Yeah, that's okay. Hello, everyone. I'm so sorry that we're starting late. I think next time I'll change the time to like 6 p.m., not 4. Okay. I think I'll just start off with the reason why I'm doing this. I don't know, I feel like I'm okay. I'm doing very well. So I'll just start off with the reason why I'm doing this. I started okay, so we did our first live show last year, December, and I really liked it. That was great. That was fantastic. But then while I was getting ready for that one, I was praying to God about different things, and I was asking God, okay, so like I want like a very nice birthday gift, blah blah blah. My birthday was on Thursday, and while I was actually organizing that, God told me that I was going to do. God told me that I was going to do storytelling. That I need to plug myself into like more into Creative Cloud, and I thought to myself, why would I need to plug myself? Because I really love being behind the scene, and I just like watching everything from the back and arranging everything, organizing everything, getting people to perform. I like giving people room and space to be themselves and just express yourself, and then, we're here for you. We'll arrange we'll set up everything for you. And then God said I needed to plug myself in by doing storytelling. During the lockdown, I was actually supposed to do this through videos, but I changed my mind because I felt like, what's the point? It was lockdown, and then I was just going to upload them to my IG page. I felt like it wasn't really necessary. But then I went for Familiar Show last year, which also happened in December, I think. And they were also doing storytelling. I just thought to myself, like, what the hell am I doing here? And then God kept on taunting me, like, Amanda, you're going to do this storytelling. And then earlier this year, like earlier in January, I was just going through IG, and I thought to myself, I said, okay, God, if you really want me to do this thing, like, I don't know, you just have to, like, talk to me again. And from nowhere, I saw a friend's post. He started doing a storytelling thing. And I'm like, okay. But then the funny thing is, on Friday, I almost canceled this because I felt like I'm not really ready. But then I had the craziest dream, and in that dream, I was actually telling myself to cut some parts out. But then God was saying that I don't need to cut any part out. So, yeah. I've never done this before, so you guys are just like fly along with me. Yeah. So we're going to start off with. Sorry, I just need to. I have like everything written down. So we're going to start off with death, anger, and self-esteem. And I'm starting with death because I think that's when like a lot of things really started like changing in my life. So I was an extrovert growing up. I was like an extreme extrovert. I loved chatting with people. I was so friendly. I could make friends like easily. I loved like I was really out there. I would sing, dance. I was not shy. Man, I was sometimes thinking about it, I feel like I was a pain in the ass, like for my sisters and my brother and everybody. Honestly, thinking about it, I feel like maybe I was a little bit annoying because I would literally like maybe I'm talking to like older people and I would collect their grammar each time. I would read every billboard I see, like when we were driving the car. I was really out there. Um, but then my dad died when I was 8, and at first I didn't really understand what was going on. But I think maybe when I got to high school, college slash uni, that's when I realized that there was actually a vacuum somewhere. But when I was younger, I just didn't understand. So when that vacuum was created, I would say anger kind of, grew. And it was so bad. Man, my anger was so bad. Like, I didn't know how to have conversations anymore. So if something happens, I would just get angry. Because I just really didn't know how to express myself. And I wasn't even really close to my dad. So it wasn't even a case of, oh, my dad had died and he's not there anymore. I wasn't even close to him. So I think it was the fact that I wasn't even close to him and then he had died. And then I kept on telling myself, when I got to high school, I kept on telling myself that this guy probably just traveled to Kaduna somewhere and he's just chilling. I had to give an excuse because it's just something I couldn't really wrap my head around. And my mom and I became so close and I saw things that she was passing through. And it was just, I just had to give myself like excuses all the time because I couldn't process it and I didn't understand it. And obviously in Nigeria, you don't go for counseling, there are no therapists, there's nothing. So I didn't have anyone to talk to. I was in primary school from a very happy, chill child to like a very angry person. Um, I love creativity like as a whole. So even in primary school, I was in ballet, and I think we went for like a ballet performance somewhere. And someone walked up to me. She was actually about to say, "Oh my God, I loved your performance, blah blah blah. You did great." And without even hearing what she was about to say, I just slapped her. I just slapped her. Why? Honestly, I don't even know. But then I think from there, like so many things just started happening. The friends I was surrounded with, I think they weren't even really helping. They, I honestly thinking about it now, I don't even blame them because they were children. So what did they even know? But I'll say they weren't really helping because they would literally insult my family members, like trash talk them. What did they know? They didn't know anything, but it really got to me. So they will say lots of things about my siblings, say lots of things about my mom. In fact, I have a friend who, she's actually the one that broke the news of my dad's death to me. And she would trash talk my family, like, in a bad way. Like, we had a physical fight one time. So many things just started, like, pulling down my self-esteem. And it got to the point where I started becoming so shy. I was so shy to the point that the shyness started disgusting me when I was in uni, because it was almost like I'm with people, and I mean when I say people, I don't mean my people. You know, when you're with your people, it's a bit different. So people know like different sides of Amanda. So when I'm with my people, like it's very different. They would really see Amanda, like proper Amanda. But then when I'm with random people I don't even know, we're having conversations and in my head, I'm replying you, I'm laughing, like I'm actually enjoying myself, but it's just not coming out because I just didn't even know how to really communicate. And I didn't know it was that bad until I was having a conversation with my mom one time. And she said that, you know, so even in my family, it got to the point where I could gist and banter and do a lot of things, but I hardly used to talk to my family members. Like, I can be going through something and nobody would know anything. Like, I wouldn't even open my mouth to tell you anything. Like, you would never hear it from me. My mom got scared. She was so scared because she's like, what's going through this child's mind? And every time something happens, we would argue, yeah. But then there was one day she said that she actually likes it when we argue because at least I'm saying something. I think that's when I realized I was that intense, and I started asking myself, okay, what's really going on? Like, you have to find the root cause because everything has a root cause. So you have to find, the root cause of the problem, of the issue, like where did it start from and how did it even start? And you have to figure out how to pull yourself out of it. Most times we want to pull ourselves out of it, but then we're so stuck in there, we don't even know how to. And then we kind of feel comfortable because we're afraid of pulling ourselves out of it. So I went through that whole mess, and it affected a lot of things, so many things. School was kind of tough. So it might not sound like a big deal, but in my family, everybody knows I'm left-handed and they accept it. But to the outside world, I'm trying to live my normal life, and then you go somewhere, someone's telling you, why are you giving me this thing with your left hand? Why are you doing this? And then, honestly, all these things, it sounds really little, but it really, really affected me. It confused me so much. Honestly, I felt like I was such a dumb child because my school didn't even help me. Trying to force me to do different things that I was not used to confused me a whole lot. In fact, there was a time, I think I was in primary 4, and I had Apple I couldn't even see. And then I think in the mornings we used to do like a mental math type of thing. I think till now that's what made me hate math, and I don't even like math at all. And I went into class and I couldn't even see my paper, and I was just trying my best. I'm like, Amanda, just write something. And my teacher came to me, she gave me like 3 hot slaps on my back. And she was like, why not write anything? And I'm like, I can't even see to even write anything. Like, you're lucky I'm even in school. So around that period, my mom used to travel a lot, and I just made up my mind that, you know what, every time she's traveling, I'm traveling with her. So I think that's when my love for traveling even started. And every time it's time to travel, I don't know how I kind of found my way in her schedule of, traveling, but we would travel together, and she was kind of okay with it. So we'll travel and I'll have so much fun, and I'm like, thank God I'm not in school. Then when I'm back in school, I'm thinking of next time I'm going to travel, because for me it was just like an escape from all the craziness that was going on. I was so sick in primary 6. I actually thought I was going to die. My eyes were like sinking in. It was really, really bad. Till now, like if I smell the shower gel I was using, I would actually feel a bit nauseous. So I actually felt it was really bad. It was bad. My mom was so scared. I was about to write common entrance, and then I don't know. I think the pastor came and prayed on something, and after a couple of days, I just said, you know what, I'm tired of staying in this hospital, I'm leaving. And I stood up, we left. I literally, I couldn't stand up before. I don't know where the energy came from. I stood up, I went to the nurses, and I said, can I just remove this thing, because I'm tired of staying here. So they removed it, and then I went back home. I think I had to write common entrance the next week, and by the time results were out, I came last, and I was like, oh my God. And then they posted on the board. I just thought to myself, like, Amanda, you're not smart, so. I'm like, Amanda, you're not smart. Like, is it that you're so dumb that, you just can't process information enough? And I don't know, like, the Nigerian system is amazing, really, it's amazing. And it actually affected me up to my high school. So I think high school was even we had to do like sciences, then you had the arts and everything. And I remember during biology class, once I just look and I don't understand something, I'll just pick up my bag, and then a friend of mine would just say, okay, you know what, let's go and swim. So we'll go to the pool, we'll sneak, we'll go to the pool and then we'll go and swim. I just had to like find my escape because I'm like, maybe school is not really for me, but I'm just going to do this thing because they're paying my school fees. And when we're done, I'll figure out what I can really do. And it just, it went on that way for a very long time. The anger kind of got worse. Like, it got really bad. I would literally argue with everybody because I just didn't know how to have a normal conversation. The stories are like really long, really long. I feel like, parents should really pay attention to their children from like age 1 to 5, because that's when you truly see their real character. So I'll say from like 1 to 5, that's when you could really see who I'm at. I loved dogs. I was a lover of dogs. Like, I was so tiny, and I would literally have like puppies like walking after me. It was like an army. We're just working together. But I couldn't enter the house because my siblings actually hated animals. So we'll just stand outside, and I have like my army around me. And so thinking about it, I'm just trying to remember like Amanda from like age 1 to 5. It's like Amanda from like age 8 to 20 something. I don't know. Yeah. The other part I want to talk about, but then it falls under like different topics. But I think that's how far it goes with the self-esteem and the anger and the death. Till now, I'm actually really, I'm scared of, like, I'm afraid of death. Okay, not till now actually, but I was really afraid of death. Like, it was so bad. Sometimes I'll look at my mom and I'm like, she's still alive. She's still here, okay. So I feel like she's fake because I'm like, okay, like she'll travel, she'll come back. Because when she travels, I start having like panic attacks, anxiety, and I'm like, oh, she comes back in one piece. And then she comes, because she used to travel a whole lot. She used to travel like a lot. As a matter of fact, in high school, she came to pick up my results once, and then she didn't come again. Not because she was a bad bitch, she was just very busy because she had 4 children to take care of. So, I mean, she would travel a whole lot, and I don't know, like, every time she comes back, I'm so happy because I'm like, she's okay. At some point, I felt like maybe she's a clone, she's plastic. Maybe she's a clone, she's plastic. Like, no, it can't be real because I actually didn't realize how bad my dad's death hit me. And someone actually died a couple of years ago. Some people know the person, but nobody actually knows this. But the person's death, like, it was really haunting me because I used to have a lot of dreams. I have, like, dreams all the time. And before the person died, I actually had quite a number of dreams, and I was actually praying for this person. And it still happened. When I was so devastated because I'm like, God, I actually prayed, like, and this person still died. And the whole death thing just became worse, and I was just like, are you kidding? It became worse. I was like, God, I can't, no. That's how it's going to be. I don't want to have dreams anymore. I'm fine. Don't even show me. I don't want to see the next person about to die. I'm good. Because it was so real. Like, there was actually a particular dream I had, and it's like, there was a cord, that was connecting myself to that person. And once she died, I had to remove the cord from my heart. It was that intense. So that's why, when she died, it was, we weren't even that close. That's the funny thing, but I really felt it. It was crazy. But then God started, paving the way in certain areas. So I went for a program, and I think I'll just, in summary, because I don't want to like give all the other parts of the stories away, but I'll just say that as I started growing in my knowledge of God, those things actually started fading away. So many things just started dropping off. When I did that, I knew that, it actually started dropping off. Like, I actually started breathing when I had issues was when there was a particular person I used to have arguments with a whole lot. It was really, really bad. And then the day the person did something terrible, I didn't even shout or anything. I was just like, okay. And I was just breathing in, and I'm like, you know what? I'm just going to count from 1 to 10. There's no point, like, shouting is not even going to do anything because this issue does not even make sense. And anger lies in the bottom of fools, and I'm not even a fool. So that's when I knew that something was changing and things actually started changing. It's actually been a long process in terms of the self-esteem because I wouldn't even do this on a normal day. So, yeah, it's been a long process. I think I'd like to take a break now. I'd like to take a break now, and I think the next person we're having up is Savi. We're having Savi, and yeah, and he'll be singing If the World Was Ending. Yeah. Also, if you'd like to order food or anything, you can. The waiters are going to be around if you'd like to place an order. So Savi would come and sing If the World Was Ending. Thank you.
Good evening, everybody. My name is Xavier Henry, and this is If the World Was Ending. I was distracted and in traffic. I didn't feel it when the earthquake happened, but it really got me thinking. Were you out drinking? Were you in the living room chilling, watching television? It's been a year now. Think I figured out how to think about you without it ripping my heart out. Oh, I know, you know, we ain't down for forever and it's fine. Oh, I know, we know, we ain't meant to be forever and it's fine. But if the world is ending, you'd come over, right? You'd come over and you stay the night. Or would you love me for the hell of it? All our fears would be irrelevant. If the world was ending, you'd come over, right? The sky be falling and I'll hold you tight. No, there wouldn't be a reason why we would even have to say goodbye. Or if the world is ending, you'd come over, right? Or if the world is ending, you'd come over, right? I tried to imagine your reaction. It didn't scare me when the earthquake happened, but it really got me thinking. The night we went out drinking, stumbled in the house and didn't make it past the kitchen. Oh, it's been a year now. Think I figured out how to think about you without it ripping my heart out. Oh, I know, you know, I know, you know, we ain't meant to be forever. Come over it. Will you come over and you stay the night? Would you love me for the hell of it? All our fears would be irrelevant. Oh, if the world was ending, you come over it. The sky be falling and I'll hold you tight. And oh, there wouldn't be a reason why we would even have to say goodbye. Oh, if the world was ending, you come over it. Will you come over it? You come over, you come over, you come over it. Oh, I know, you know, we know he ain't down for forever and it's fine. Oh, I know, you know, we know we ain't meant to be forever and it's fine. But if the world was ending, you'd come over, right? Or you come over and you stay the night. Or would you love me for the hell of it? All our fears would be irrelevant. If the world was ending, you'd come over it. The sky be falling and I'll hold you tight. Oh no, there wouldn't be a reason why we would even have to say goodbye. Oh, if the world was ending, you'd come over it. You come over right. You come over, you come over, you come over right. Ooh. Oh, if the world is ending, you come over right. You come over right. You come over, you come over, you come over right. Oh, if the world is ending, you come over right. Thank you very much.
Yes, fine. Okay. So, I don't like crying. I don't like crying in front of people because, I don't know. I like from like I'm a hard babe, but I'm actually not. This one is a bit tough. The next topic is a bit tough. So when I think I was 4 or 5. So I hardly went to my village. I mean, I used to go, but it wasn't really a thing because my dad didn't really want us to really come to the village like all the time. So he would literally like tell us to travel or something, and he just didn't want us to get us, wrapped in that whole come to the village every time kind of thing, because I guess he knew why he didn't want that. But there was, I think I was 5. Yeah, I was really young, to be quite honest. I think I was maybe 6 actually. So we went to the village for Christmas. Was it Christmas or I don't know, one of those holidays? And I think that was the first time I was actually molested. But it wasn't even normal because it was actually a lady, and it was like a help that was actually. The thought of it is very disgusting, but that happened, and a part of me just shut that. And to be quite honest, for a very, very, very long time, I actually didn't even remember. I literally like shut that door, and that was it. But then something started happening. I think when I got to uni. So I mean, my uni was fantastic. Well, I lie, it was not fantastic. It was a bit boring because I went to Bangor, and it's very, very. I actually wanted to go to Hertfordshire because I felt like it would be fun and I would have fun with a lot of people. Because I mean, that's like a lot of Nigerians are there. But I went to Bangor and it was a bit dull. Nothing exciting going on. I picked up I don't know, different, like, new habits, to be quite honest. But something kept on playing in my mind. So I wouldn't even say that they were my friends, but I just knew them. Some of them were taking my course. So obviously I had to talk to them and, whatever. In our third year, we actually stayed together, and I had to eventually run away from them because of, I had to eventually run away from them. So the reason why I'm talking about this particular molestation story is because I realized that when I got to uni, different things started playing in my mind. So at some point, I have this friend that I used to talk to a whole lot. And it's almost like, I wouldn't say we're going through the same thing, but we were like, oh, you know what? Let's just be very experimental. So in my mind, I felt like, maybe I'll just be experimental with girls, but I never really knew where that came from. But then I just knew that, so God has, like, literally, I'm not lying, God has always had, like, special plans for me that I just couldn't even go in certain directions because it was not going to happen. That's not what God had in store for me. So, in my head, I felt like, let's be experimental. And he too, he felt like, let's be experimental. So we said he was in, what was he? I think he was in Birmingham, yeah. And I was in Wales. So, we said, let's be experimental and in our different locations. And then, after thinking about it, I'm like, Amanda, deep down, you know that you don't even want that, but you have to find out. Like I said, everything has a root cause. You have to find out, like, where that is actually coming from. And I told myself, nah, you can't even do that because, first of all, it's just not for me. It's really just not for me. And then I started thinking, and then I actually remembered the incident that happened when I was at the village. And then I'm like, okay, so God has to. Then, to be quite honest, I was not even close to God like that. I was hardly even going to church. I could count how many times I ever went to church. Like, yeah. But then I told myself still that God has to heal that and work on that because it's just not a path that has been set for me. I knew that, like, deep down within. It's very scary when you don't listen to the Holy Spirit when the Holy Spirit is talking to you. I'm telling you, you can. At that point in uni, I wouldn't even say I knew the Holy Spirit like that. So, but then I guess I was just giving into the voice that was speaking to me. That was just it. But then now I realized that it was actually the Holy Spirit that was speaking to me. And the Holy Spirit kept on telling me that, Amanda, there is a reason why you're having these thoughts. And it got to the point where I had to start talking to some people because for some people, it's so exciting. Like, you talk about this thing, you're like, I don't understand. And they're like, yeah, it's great, so it's fantastic. And honestly, I had really crazy friends. I'm not going to lie. I had crazy friends. And in the midst of my very busy life, amongst my crazy friends, they used to call me the Holy One. It was that bad. Now, thinking about it, when I think, was it 2 years ago, I was telling a friend a story, and he was like, man in the jungle, because that's, like, the nickname he calls me, man in the jungle. And I'm like, if this guy can be calling me man in the jungle, then if he meets certain people that I've hung out with, then I don't even know, maybe, like, they're in the forest or something, because, because amongst them, it was like, I'm the Holy One. But then, now that I'm out of, certain things, I just realized that it was really deep, like, it was really, really deep. So, but then I just knew that lifestyle wasn't for me, and by the time I reached out to my friend, I guess he had already experimented, and that was that, Well, I mean, he's still my friend. I wouldn't cut him off, because of that. Well, I just knew that it wasn't for me. And then the second time that I got molested was actually by someone who was supposed to be a pastor. So we went to redemption camp, and I think they were actually ordaining pastors at that point in time. So when we got there, there was a guy who, I don't even know how my mom, I don't know, like all these, I don't even know how my mom met him, but he needed a place to stay, blah, blah, blah. So he stayed with us. And I think they took, so they rarely take light in camp, but they took light that day. And my mom said, okay, just go and give him a candle, you know. And then I went to him, like, oh, yeah, this candle is for you. And then he was like, oh, thank you, thank you, thank you. And then next thing, he's like hugging me and telling me thank you. And I'm like, okay. And then next thing, he's pecking my cheeks and telling me thank you. I'm like, this cannot be happening. And I don't even know how I just kind of like snuck out of that very awkward situation. But I didn't tell my mom any of this. In fact, the first molestation, I didn't even tell her. And she's watching this. I know she's actually watching this. She'll be like shocked. But I actually didn't tell her because I just felt like she was going through a lot already. And I hardly spoke to my family members because I felt like everybody's going through a lot of things. So how would I now come and carry my own burden of everything I'm going through and then just come and dump it on them? Like, how are they going to process it? Even, like, if I myself, I can't even process it. And it was just, and it wasn't even like a very smooth period because, I mean, there were people who were telling my mom to take me out of school because, you know, how will she pay? I'm going to, okay, so they were like, I'm going to Corona, she should take me out of school and put me in like a very, very, very low category of school. And my mom was like, no, she's not going to do that because she's very big on education. So she's like, nope, I'm not going to do that. And I'm going to leave her there and she's going to graduate and then I'll put her in a very good school after that. And after that, I'm going to go and put her in a very good school. So that was it. And she just, shut them up. But because I saw that they were going through it, I just couldn't talk to anybody. I'll literally just keep everything in. I don't even think I think I've only opened up to maybe 2-3 people about like myself. I've had friends for years and they just know what I want them to know about me. I hardly say, but we're actually close. We're actually close. I will call them when I'm in distress, to be quite honest, but I just wouldn't share certain parts because for the longest time I just felt a lot of shame and I'm like, why would anybody want to associate themselves with me and, hear this type of story and still be like, oh, this is Amanda, she's my friend. But then along the line I got to realize that a lot of people go through a lot of things. So last year during the lockdown, I started following a lot of people and I was seeing so many stories and I was like, Amanda, you're really not in this alone. No. Yeah, actually not in this alone. And that's actually what even encouraged me to do this. And I think last year, to be quite honest, the shyness I felt, and honestly, I've never prayed about my shyness. I have never, because I'm actually okay at the back. I like doing a lot of back end things. I can run, I really enjoy it. I'm happy when I do that. But I guess, life is just in phases and I'm in a different phase. When something bad happens, I always say that if you don't have anything going on in your life, then you're as good as dead because, to be quite honest, because something has to be happening. You can't just live your life and you're living like a very rosy life. You don't have any challenges. Like you have nothing going on. Everything is just, like a smooth sail. I don't know. For me, that's not what life is. That's really not what life is. So I had to start thinking. I had to change my thought process. I had to let go of so many things. As a matter of fact, I think after I dealt with the first molestation thing, by the way, I like I said, I couldn't even get myself to cross into the other side because it was just wasn't for me. And somehow God just allowed that thought fall off, literally. But then the reason why I even remembered it again was because last year my mom was speaking to the lady and I heard her name and I was like, interesting. But then this time when I heard her name, I didn't feel any way. I didn't feel angry. I was just like, whatever. And that was just it. Even the other guy, she spoke about, I don't even know how his name came up and I was like, oh, okay, you've dealt with something when you don't feel the pain, you don't feel anger, you don't feel sad, you don't feel you've literally like moved on, from it. So yeah, that was that. I think there's one more thing. Sorry, I have to check. Yeah, and so I mean, after I think I was in primary school, and I talk about this very close friend I had that would literally tear down my family insults. It was so bad. In fact, I hope the person is not watching because we're actually good now. Seriously, we're actually very, very okay. Well, okay, but it's something I have to talk about. It was so bad to the point that she was actually staying with us, and I didn't see it as a big deal. I felt like, oh, do you know what it means for like your very close friend to stay with you? Like you guys are seeing every single day, and you guys are close friends, and you guys go to school together. It's actually not that bad. But then imagine having a very close friend who literally insults your family every day. If she can't maybe have something or go out somewhere or have your cousin take her somewhere, it's like you people are very, very, very bad people. So I used to go to her house like few times because her parents weren't in town. And the few times I went to her house, there was actually nothing to watch. And I think then my dad had died, so I was like 8, 9. So there was actually nothing to watch. And the only thing that was there was pornography. So I think that's how pornography actually started, yeah, for me. Because there was actually nothing to watch. So she would literally play it, and I'm like, interesting, okay. But then I can actually count how many times I went to her house. But for the fact that each time I went to her house, that was literally the only thing that was there to watch. It was in my mind for a very long time. And I have a very active mind, very, very active mind. Sometimes we just like after I have conversations with people, I actually go back and I run to the conversation like, okay, this person said this, person said this, person said this. I'm like, okay. Like it's crazy. So imagine going back home and then you're literally like analyzing everything that you've watched. Yeah, that was it. And it was, to think of it now, it's really sad. No matter how hard parents really try to protect their children, you still have to be mindful and aware of where they are going to. Because you can do everything in your house to protect them, but you have to be careful with the friends they have, where they're going to, even like with what's happening in school. You have to know. You have to know these things. Because, I mean, how would my mom even know that I was watching pornography in this girl's house? Nobody would know. So, that's how it started. So, in fact, less than 10, I think that's just how the pornography and masturbation started. And it was chaotic because I was talking to a friend. I also never was doing this thing, I'm not going to lie. And there's a friend that I wouldn't really say we pray all the time, but he's just someone that I can call because he has his own story. So I just felt, comfortable talking to him about some things. And then he explained it as you swimming in a pool full of spirogyra and you can't get yourself out of it. That's what watching pornography was like for me. Like I knew that it was a problem and I needed to get out of it, but I couldn't get out of it because I felt like I was literally drowning and suffocating in it. It was so bad, but I just couldn't get out of it. I really couldn't get out of it. And honestly, I thought that, like, Amanda, I have a problem. Like, serious problem, because it was terrible. It was so terrible. But then, in 2016, I went for a program. The program is actually called Sorting Out. And as I went for the program, it's like a weekend program. And we did like, some prayers and, blah, blah, blah. And from then on, I realized that, okay, Amanda, things have changed though. My mind really wasn't there. It's like things had really just like falling off. Like it just fell off me like naturally. I didn't have to. Some people put so much energy in their strength. They'll just, okay, you know what? I'm not going to be on my phone. I'm going to put like, what do you call those things? The one where you lock your internet and you can't search for some things. I'm going to do this and that and that. Trust me, you can do everything, but you'll still find a way. You'll still find a way. So that was it. And I found myself being like rebirthed into a healthier place until I actually started dating someone, and the person didn't really tell me that he was interested in that. But in a subtle way, used to like push it in, send me some videos. And the day I knew I had grown was when I would get those videos and I'll delete it. And I'm like, sorry, please, what are you sending this for? I'm sorry, but I really don't want this. Yeah, so that's the more the stories get, it's becoming harder, but yeah, I think that's that. Yeah. So I think up next we have Jeremy with 505. Yeah.
Can you guys give it up for Amanda one more time? I think it takes a lot of courage to share these stories. And speaking of stories, I would like to tell one of mine through a song. I want to take you in a time machine I call the 505. And yes, Patelli and the great DMM. Thank you guys for jamming with me today. All right, let's go. Can't remember the chords. See, back then you could find me somewhere in the backseat, chilling, just relaxing. I'm going nowhere exactly, driving past Amarachi as she waits for the taxi. I'm in that 505, such a perfect vibe, make her free my mind. Alright, I'm in that 505, such a perfect vibe, so make her free my mind. Now listen, let's take it back to 03, when we used to kick it with the OGs. Cruising down Ozumba with no license, so we dodge the police. There goes the QC bus, and anytime they drive by, you see us. Trying to make eye contact, I'm winking at a girl like this could be us. Back then it was 11:45, all boys out about 7:45. To all my G's, Florette, that's a slogan that I'll never forget. And that's the way it goes, tribesman bursting out the radio. See, this goes out to my friends, the ones from back then. See, from back then you can find me somewhere in the backseat, I'm chilling, just relaxing. I'm going nowhere exactly, driving past Amarachi as she waits for the taxi. Bring it up. I'm in that 505, such a perfect vibe, so make her free my mind. Alright, I'm in that 505, such a perfect vibe, so make her free my mind. So in that 505, such a perfect vibe, make her free my mind. Thank you very much.
Sounds really nice. That sounds really nice. I'm going to do a small piece, and it's very, very personal to me. I don't think I've ever shared anything quite like this. And the title is Genesis 38. That's when I finally crossed to the other side. Hopefully it'll be a while from now. I'm thinking that on my, that's your headstone. People don't like thinking about such things. No. But on that headstone, I would like there to be Genesis 38. And why Genesis 38? Because Genesis 38 is a very strange chapter. Now, nothing in the Bible is coincidence. Nothing in the Bible is coincidence. Even those ones we feel saying are mistaken, are plan. There are some people that study it and they will tell you that. Now, at the end of Genesis 37, it ends with, and Joseph's brothers sold him to the Midianites. At the beginning of Genesis 39, it's like, and Joseph prospered in Potiphar's house. 36, before that, it was about Joseph, and 40 is still about Joseph. How, you know the story now, his brothers, ride coats, Potiphar's house, jail time. We know the story. But what's Genesis 38 doing in the middle of that? What's Genesis 38 doing in the middle of Joseph's story? And Genesis 38 goes like this. When they had told their father that Joseph don't pay me, he said, the guy took it personal. They say he mourned. He broke him down. One of the sons, Judah, decided to leave the house. And he went far away. And then he got married. And then he had sons. And he must have stayed there for quite a while because his sons were getting ready to get married. And he saw one lady, her name was Tamar. Now you see Tamar. And then he brought Tamar to his firstborn son. His firstborn son's name was And then it said at one point in that 38 that after marrying Tamar, was one of the most, he was about to sleep with his wife. And it says that God didn't like that guy. He found him evil in his sight. And what? God killed him. First of all, I'd never known that God killed anybody. This was the first time I was seeing it. Normally, he sends angels or other guys. It says God killed him. And then, that was the first time I was also knowing that God can be in two places at the same time. Because in Genesis 37, he was still with Joseph, and 39, they say he was still with him. So which time did he leave him to come and kill her? Okay, that's fine. Then I was now thinking, why did he kill her? Was her the most evil guy on earth at that time? But moving forward, Judah was now like, her has died. Oh, you have to fulfill, and your younger brother, Onan, will marry Tamar and bear. It's a normal, traditionally, the younger brother will now. So Tamar married Onan, and Onan said, they said that Onan knew that that child wasn't going to be his. So he came on the floor. He didn't come in her. And it was like, God also found that evil in his sight, and he killed Onan too. By this time, Judah had woken up from his slumber and realized that Tamar was a witch. Tamar must leave his house, but he didn't let her know, so that she won't know that he knows that she's a witch. So he said, Tamar, come. See, my last born said he will soon be ready for you to kill. Don't worry. Before you do that, can you go to your dad's house? Just pending. He was looking, they said he was looking at his watch that you'll be back soon. Just go to your father's house. So Tamar left. And then something else happened. Judah's wife now died. So Judah was very sad. He was sad with God as well. I said, why me? Why me? And then they said he went to comfort himself with one guy, Hisham Abdullite, the Adulite. And when he was going there, he saw one chick by the roadside. It was Tamar pretending to be an Ashi. But because his wife had died, his wife was alive, he might not have ever looked at the Ashi. But he looked at her and he told her, babe, how far now? I'm in mourning. It's allowed, it's allowed. She was like, okay, fine. How much? And it's like, I don't have cash, but I'm about to do some deals. I'll harvest. I'll send you one live goat. She's like, really? What will you drop? We know the story. He dropped his stuff and then he moved. And in his mind, he actually sends the small goat back. But they were like, we didn't see anybody here. Moving on. Like 4 months later, they were like, Judah, Oga Judah, your daughter-in-law, Tamar, we found out that she's an ashi. She's pregnant. She's supposed to be in mourning. She's even still wearing black. Let's kill her. Let's stone her. And Judah was like, I knew it. Bring her. And then when they brought her, she now said, Master, please, the person will give me this belly. Now I ain't get this stuff. And he was like, because he recognized his stuff. Now you. God. Scandal. Because remember that Naim first see Tamar. Naim bring Tamar come the house. Then now you've given Tamar belly. You knew. You can't tell me you didn't know the new. You knew. So Judah had lost 2 sons. Judah had lost his wife. Judah was embroiled in a major scandal that he slept with his daughter-in-law. They say he even knew. His daughter-in-law don't get belly. And guess what? She was about to have twins. So when she was about to have the twins, they were like, these twins. Then they rock you gone. One of them brought out the hand so that they can differentiate the firstborn and the secondborn. So they put a red strip on the firstborn, so that when he comes out, they know you're first. But as he was about to come out, the secondborn now dragged him back, drama, and came out, even without help. As in, he came out. They named that guy Perez, meaning bursting forth. Now, Perez is the forefather of our Lord Jesus Christ. He is the forefather of the Lion of the tribe of Judah. In him would come the Savior of the world. But guess what? They didn't tell Judah. They didn't tell Judah. So Judah, guess what? In chapter 39 and 40, he was with his brothers when they said go to Egypt, where Yahweh don't bust. He was there with Joseph. And when Joseph finally revealed who he was to his brothers, Judah was happy as well. With the whole world, they celebrated Joseph. But no one celebrated him. He was actually in his mind a failure. Because he had gone away to make money, but he came back broke. He'd gone to start a family, but it was like his family was a joke. 2 of his sons had died, and he had slept with his daughter-in-law. And they even had 2 twins, and even much more. So he went back to his house, really sober. He didn't know that he was the man. They didn't tell him that the Savior of the world would come from him, this broken man. They didn't tell him that even as they were celebrating his brother Joseph, that he was the one who was going to bring. See, Joseph was for a time. This guy was timeless. Judah is of the Lion of the tribe of Judah. From him did Jesus Christ come. The Savior of mankind, the Savior of the world, but they didn't let him know. So while he was there celebrating his brother Joseph, who was great for a time, he saved them from the famine. He used his mind to tell them this is how it should be. And he helped them turn water into wine. But the ultimate goal was my man, and it was hidden in time. And even his story is not between Genesis 37 and Genesis 39. His own is Genesis 38, hidden inside the probate. Thank you.
Yes, it's perfect. Is it okay? Ooh, there's so much energy going around right now.
at least for me, it's really intense. So I'm really excited to be here. Thank you so much for having me. My name is Olu. I'm an artist. I'm a human being. I'm a soul. I'm a spirit. I'm everything. I'm who I am. I'm going to be singing God Save the Queen. I hope that as I sing or as the lyrics come out, it makes sense. And yeah, enjoy. Thank you. Pillows gone by before I could speak of this, speak of pain, speak of anything she had to say, everything she had to say. I was so up with pain. So what are you gonna do? Someone's got to do something about the Queen's pain. And what are we gonna do? 'Cause everybody has a tax to pay on the Queen's pain. So don't come running home, oh. There's no space for you here, the Queen is in pain. And you say, God save the Queen, she's done so very well. God save the Queen. God save the Queen, God save us, we've done so very kind. God save the Queen. Here comes your majesty, your majesty. Here comes your majesty. Your Majesty, here comes your Majesty, your Majesty. You say, God save the Queen, God save you. You've done so very well. God save the Queen. Mama, God save you, God save you, you've done so very kind, yeah. God save the Queen. Here comes your Majesty, Majesty. Here comes your Majesty, your Majesty. Your Majesty.
So like I said, when I got to uni, I picked up certain bad. All right. Yeah. All right. Thanks. So the next I'm going to talk about is yes. How do I even start this? So I got to uni and I picked up bad habits. Um, and I mean, to most people, it might not really be bad habits because it's like it's normal, but yeah. I In uni, I realized that I really couldn't get drunk, so I would drink excessively and I would be very okay. And I would literally be laughing at all my friends when they're like misbehaving, rolling on the floor, doing whatever. Um, I started smoking weed a whole lot, and it was so bad to the point that I actually had my own like tin. I had my crusher. I had my scissors. I had everything. You know, I used to like. It was intense. So it was intense. Like you know, guys take pride in I know how to roll. I know how to roll. So you know, we all used to roll together and do. So Amanda, can you roll for us? You know, roll one blunt, whatever. So that's how it was. But I just knew that I wasn't. I'm very experimental. I'm not going to lie, but I think now I'm not experimental. I just like knowing about things. You know, I just want to know, and you know, I'll probably leave it there if I'm really not interested. But I just knew that maybe things like cocaine or like heroin, and it just like I don't want to sniff stuff, and I don't even like needles. It's really not for me. But I smoked excessively, and it got to a point where I said, okay, you know what? you're smoking the weed is fine. Maybe you should just try cigarettes and just see how it goes. But then I realized that wasn't really good for my health because I could barely make it to class. Like, I would smoke and I can't even walk because I'm panting. I also unhealthy. I'm literally panting so much, and so I cut that out. But my tolerance for alcohol was really, really crazy. And when you're doing, this sounds like a very cliche statement, but when you're doing things in the world, it seems so cool. So my friends would say, "Oh, Amanda, let's go and hang out," and they'll tease me and say stuff like, you don't get drunk, she'll just tease me and tease me and tease me, and I'll be like, sure, no problem. And then we're out and we're drinking like so much and nothing is happening to me. In fact, one day I actually bought a lot of bottles and I said, today, Amanda, let's see where you can, like, let's know what your limit is. And I still drank so much and nothing happened to me. In fact, that day I smoked so much and nothing still happened. I was like, is there a problem? I was like, is there a problem? And I got back from uni. The person I was dating at that point in time was such a druggie. And when you're dating someone, automatically it's just like you guys start doing the same things, So you got to the point where we started doing drugs. Me personally, I might have issues, but that is not really what I'll turn to. But when you're dating someone, it's a bit different. So I really didn't have personal reasons. It's not like I was sad and I was doing it or something. I legit did not have reasons to even do that. But somehow, I just found myself doing it. So we'll take drugs, do all that kind of stuff. And it was so bad, to the point that I would I'll say what used to make me high was probably stuff like codeine and Richie and the rest. And I would take it at night, and I would literally go to church as high as a kite. And, there's this thing that they do in church sometimes. If they know that your mom or your parents or whoever is like a minister or something, they will make you do something in church. So I used to see the teenagers. So I would go to church and I'm upstairs and I'm teaching the teenagers as high as they can. And I'm really I feel like I'm making so much sense. And in fact, I can't remember what we're talking about, and someone used Ariana Grande as an example, and I was like, sure. And I was like, yeah, you're so right. And I couldn't stop, because it just, at that point, it actually felt quite good. It felt okay to, escape from that thing. Even if things were not smooth, I'm not lying, I was not going through anything. It was not like I had one disaster story at that point in time. Nothing miserable was happening in my life. I didn't even know, I was not even escaping to anywhere, but I just couldn't stop. And at that point, I think I tried to actually get out of it because I felt so guilty. I just thought to myself, Amanda, how do you get me teaching teenagers and you are so high? In fact, I felt like I was floating in time, I'm talking to them. And sometimes I just laughed stupidly. Honestly, I don't even know. And they really they were really into everything I was saying. Honestly, I've prayed for forgiveness because, honestly, I don't even know what I told them. But they were really, they were into every single thing I said. And it got to a point where I said, okay, Amanda, you can't do that anymore. You literally have to, stop. And I tried to, the only way I could stop was breaking up with the person I was dating, because he didn't want to stop. And it was actually hard to break up with that guy because we were dating since uni. So it was really difficult. We tried to break up with, a lot of times, but it just, I don't know, it didn't happen. And the drug intake actually became worse. So imagine doing, maybe a row of Richie today. By the next month, you're doing, 2 sachets or something, and then you're doing, 3, and, it's you're actually building tolerance to it, and it's this used to have this type of effect. Now it's not having that type of effect anymore. So I need to up my dosage, and that was how it was. And it really wasn't good for me because I would go to work and it was just a hot mess. Like, I'll go to work and I'm sleeping. I'll go to work and I'll just do what I need to do and, move on. In fact, even in uni, sometimes I was so broke, but then in my brokenness, I don't know where the money came out from, but it would come out and I would buy weed. It didn't even make any sense. I would be so broke, I don't even have food, but the money would come out for it. Somehow. So it went on like that for a while. Until 2016, I realized that, actually 2015, I realized that, Amanda, you drink so much and then you run a very bad temperature. Like, you can literally fry egg on my body. And I said, okay, you know what, you have to actually stop. Not because, and then my journey with, my journey with Christ didn't really start till 2016. So I can't even say, it's because I really gave my life to Christ. So it wasn't even because, it was because I was scared for myself because it was really bad. And I would run a very bad temperature and, things like that. Like, it was so bad to the point that I started dating someone else and we would have shots of tequila back to back, like a whole bottle. And I'll be okay and I'll drive back to my house. And I'm fine. Yeah, it was that bad. So I actually stopped drinking by myself. I just said, okay, Amanda, just stop because it doesn't really make any sense. So when I knew that I also had to cut off smoking weed was when I've never bought weed like with my own hand by myself until I think it was also in 2016. I was working somewhere and I felt like I was about to run mad because I had to transcribe an interview. And she's actually a very popular lady, so I won't mention her name, but she talks she's very eloquent. So her interview was like 3 hours plus. I had to transcribe it. I felt like I was running, I felt like I was crazy. Do you know, it means I think it took me about a week plus to actually transcribe that audio. And her voice was in my head. I'm sleeping and I'm hearing the interview. I'm waking up and I'm hearing the interview. I felt like she couldn't leave me alone. Honestly, it was really bad. And I knew I had to get a grip of myself when I drove to my friend's house in Dolphin. And I told him I need to buy. I felt like Amanda on crack. It was that bad. I said, I think I need to buy it because I feel like I'm losing my mind. You have to help me out. In fact, he called somebody else. So I used to live in Dolphin Estate before. And everybody kind of knew themselves. So it was like we were one big family. And he actually even had to hide the fact that I wanted to buy it because of how he felt. The other friend would look at me because he was buying it from somebody else that we knew. So at that point, and I think I was driving my mom's car. So I didn't even drive my car. I drove my mom's car and we were rolling it everywhere. And I'm like, Mama, what are you doing? And, particles were just there. And I was just like, so my mom drives this car and then she just opens and then she sees, when it was a hot mess. And I got back home. My mom wasn't at home, by the way. And I've never smoked at home or anything like that. And I found myself I'm smoking at home. There's just things I just wouldn't do. And then I think that's also when I stopped. No, actually, yeah, that's when I kind of, it really reduced. I'll just say it really reduced. So that's about substance abuse. Sometimes we glorify certain things, but truly when you think about it, it really doesn't make sense. Honestly, I feel like it's a waste of money. All the money I spent, if I saved it, man, I don't know, I'll be very rich, but yeah, I feel like it was a huge waste of money. And talking about money, when people look at me, you just feel like, Amanda, this girl that comes from this type of home, I'm sure the money she has is out of this world and all that. But then people don't realize that money does not grow on trees. There was a point where I was really, really broke, bad. It was terrible. I remember when I got back from uni, and then we didn't even come to Lagos. So my family had moved from Lagos. I mean, I was born in Lagos. We had lived in Lagos all our lives, but then we moved to Abuja. So I was in Abuja, and things were so bad to the point that I was using my NYSC money to actually do things at home. And somehow I actually got a job that was kind of okay, that was paying me manageable money. So by the time I, added the two together, it was enough to run things at home. And we were not comfortable, but it was just okay. Somehow, it just like things weren't working out, the way we used to get finances, it just wasn't working out. And for me, it just didn't make sense because I was used to maybe not really getting everything I wanted, but I knew that I was comfortable. I wouldn't say I was poor because poverty is like you without a roof over your head, and I had one. But I was very broke, as in, it was so bad. One time I had an accident. I think I had an accident 2 days before my birthday or something, or a day before my birthday. And they had to fix my car, and then I was carless, and I didn't even have money to use cabs. I couldn't even get a taxi. Like, I didn't have money to use cabs. I had to use like keke everywhere I was going to. And I didn't feel like it was necessary to tell anyone, because it's not for me. I felt like I mean, from now it's easy saying it, but then I was telling myself, okay, Amanda, don't worry. Like, this thing has to come to an end someday. But at this point, you have to figure out a way through life and do things. And I think it really used to piss me off when people would see me and they would just assume, this rich kid from a good home. And when people talk about my dad, it's like, oh, your dad was this and that and that. And I'm like, my dad was, but I am not. So I feel like people are entitled, and it's disgusting, really, really disgusting. Even if your dad was or your dad is, who are you? So I think I never really relied on who my dad was. However, I'm grateful that everything that he was able to, all the resources that he was able to put together worked in my favor in terms of my education. I had a very, very lovely childhood. I was traveling every time. Man, I was traveling every single time. I really enjoyed myself. I'm not going to lie. I really enjoyed myself. But I would have people. I remember when I came back to Lagos and I was driving. So there was a car that my brother gave me when I graduated from uni. It was actually a manual car. When people see me, there are two responses. They either say, "Oh, you're driving a manual car. Interesting for a lady. Wow." Or they'll say, "Oh, you're driving a manual car. You're humble though. You're trying to form humble." And I'm like, only if you guys knew that if I had my chance, I would not even be driving this car, but I had to drive the car because would you pay for my transportation? No. It got to a point where people would actually come and ask me for jobs, and they'd be like, Amanda, you can just hustle like a job for me. And I'm like, I need a job also. Do you realize that I actually need a job? Like, I literally, like, I'm not, I can't say I have like a reasonable job. Like, I actually need something. I need to do something that would give me like good money. So you coming to say, I should give you a job. Honestly, I'll just be like, I used to ask God, like, God, what's happening here? You can't be setting me up for this type of thing. And, it didn't make any sense now. It really didn't make any sense. And then the worst part is when people hear, you live in Ikoyi, and it's a thing of, you live in Ikoyi, and I'm like, can you just leave me alone? Like, you can have a house somewhere, you don't even know what's going on, like, inside the house. You don't even know what's going on inside the house. But then, I really thank God that he actually came through in the end. That's why I said life is in phases. I really don't know who this is for, but then you might be going through something, but you're not stuck there. You definitely get out of it someday. It can't happen forever. No matter how long it takes, it can happen forever. I went for a tour. We went to Ocean State and we met with Dotun, and he was talking about how he has been doing sculpturing for like how many years now? I think he said like since 2003 now or something like that. Yeah. And he sold a major piece in, was it 15 or 16? Oh, 2014. Can you imagine? And he was at it. Was it 2018? And he was at it. Can you imagine? From 2003 to like, that's a very long time. A lot of people will give up and they'll be like, you know what, I can't even do this anymore. Like, forget it. I'm moving on with my life. But then, consistency, you know, like, you just need that one breakthrough that will just change everything. I wouldn't even say Creative Cloud started on like a very nice platter. This was even supposed to come at the end, but maybe I'll just say it now. I wouldn't even say that Creative Cloud came on a very nice, you know, like it wasn't easy. It's still not even easy because, I mean, everybody's still trying to make money. I can't, like, I've worked in different places. Not like I didn't enjoy what I was doing, because I actually did. I always tell myself that, Amanda, even if things are so bad, you're not going to have a job that you're not going to enjoy. At least if you're working, enjoy what you're doing. If not, you'll be frustrated. So because that's just for me personally, because of the type of person I am. It's very hard to like get my attention and remain focused right there. And, you know, so I had to find things that I was really interested in. So I worked in an art gallery. I worked in in that art gallery, they were doing what's it called now? They were publishing magazines and whatnot. And I had to put a few skills, you know. I learned how to like make graphics and learned a little bit about website stuff. So like it just creative things that I already like doing, and I just happened to find myself working in creative places. I worked at a place where they used to showcase what's it called now? Game developers, African game developers. So we had to like get their games on the website, and we'll do like events for them. And so I actually I really love video games. Like I love it, maybe because of my brother, I don't know, but I'm a huge gamer and it's crazy. But yeah, so I found myself working in very interesting places, quite unusual, maybe as people will say from the type of family I'm in, and they'll say I'm forming humble, but really if God has a particular path for you or has channeled your path in a certain way, I'm telling you, you can have all the connections in this world. Nothing is going to happen. Forget it. Nothing is going to happen. You will go through whatever you're going to go through, and you will come out of it and move on with your life. So that's what it was. And I think the last paper job I had, it was like a PA company, so we used to like outsource personal assistants, and I felt like, oh Amanda, this one's actually a very good one. But then I would finish work so early and I would be so bored, and it felt like, maybe to them it felt like, this girl does not have enough work, and they would keep on like bombarding me with so many things, and it was just a thing of, I would literally finish what I have to do. And then I found that I have some more time, and I started thinking of all the creative ideas in this world. And I'm like, Amanda, you would have been doing this, you would have been doing that. And I'll just think of like so many ideas. I'm like, wow, what am I even doing here? And that's when I decided to go into photography. And I told myself that I'm going to learn how to, I'm just going to enter into the world of photography, because from when I was young, I used to take pictures. When I was in high school, I actually had a camera. I used to take pictures of my friends, like candid shots. I'm telling you. They actually loved it, candid shots. So I decided to go back into it and see how it flows from there. I've done a few creative things. Like I used to draw. I actually wanted to start painting, but I never got to it. And I wanted to actually start sculpturing, but I still never got to it. I tried making beats when I was in uni. I learned how to play the saxophone before I went to uni. Honestly, the moment I knew I was not dumb was when I learned how to play the saxophone in a month, and I literally had 10 classes. So it was literally in a month, and I could play so many songs. I could play national anthems. I was quite good. I could read notes. In fact, the guy was like, this is like, he has never seen someone do this before, that I need to go and take the exam, I need to go and join an orchestra, but that didn't happen because I had to go to uni, and yeah. But then in 2019, was it 19? Yeah, 2018, I was praying about my career generally and what I wanted to do. And I'm like, okay, God, I like a lot of creative things. Like, something has to come out of it, because clearly 9 to 5 is not really for me. And it's so obvious that 9 to 5 is not really for me. In fact, I can't even work in a bank because I would hate myself so much. There are certain places that it's really not for me. So I prayed about it, and an idea popped up and said, okay, you know what, I'm just going to start a creative show, because I have a lot of friends and some are low-key musicians and they're so good, and I'm like, why are you not mainstream? At least mainstream people, for me, I feel like they're not as good, but like, you guys are amazing. And then I see some friends who are into spoken word poetry, and I see some people who paint, and I'm just like, what are you guys still doing here? Like, you're supposed to like start making so much money. And I said, okay, you know what, I'm just going to start a show, and then I'm going to invite you guys on, and we'll just have conversations. So it started with conversations. Before I actually started, I reached out to a few people, and they said that for me to even start, it was going to cost about 1.5 M for me to shoot one episode. I just thought to myself, like, okay, how am I even going to raise 1.5 M when I've not even started? I've not even earned anything from this thing. So how am I even going to create this thing? And then that's when I met someone here that is actually helping me out today. And he said, okay, sure, no problem. Like, just try and do your first pilot. Just rent cameras you need, blah, 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 and I'll come and shoot for you. And I said, okay, sure, no problem. And then we shot the first pilot. And the next thing we knew, we were doing like second episode. And then we were shooting like 3 episodes in a day. And then I realized that, okay, this thing is actually not that bad. And then in 2019, I started working with someone else. And then my friend said, why don't you just go to a studio and do like, because at first I was doing it at home. I actually built like a set and everything, but then I wanted to add more, to the whole thing. And that's when I started going to like a studio, and we started doing jam sessions. And then from jam sessions, we started doing poetry, spoken word. We started doing book readings, and I'm like, this is very interesting. But doing the funny thing, I actually wasn't making money from it, but I felt so fulfilled. Oh man, I actually felt so good, because I felt like I was giving back what I know and what I love. Like, I love everything creative. Like, that's the only way. When I was in primary school, was it high school? I don't even know. I found like one of my notes, and I realized that when I was taking down notes, I actually used to draw to remember. But I was stopped from doing that because to them my book looked very chaotic and did not make sense, because I was not writing all the stories that they were giving. So I had to start writing the stories that they were giving, and I lost track. But yeah, so that's just how we started. And I don't know, like, it just feels really different. I actually prayed to God about finances, and I'm like, okay, God, if you really want me to do this, and in fact, it's very funny how God spoke to me about doing live shows when pandemic started. Really does not even make any sense, because I would think this is even the time where I'll do a lot of pre-recordings, but it's not happening that way. But yeah, so I'll just say that talking about finances, I won't even say that it's easy, but I told God that if this is actually something you want me to do, you have to look for a way to finance it, because I'm not going to like break my head over this thing. And somehow, a breakthrough just kind of came, and the first thing was I got a new car. I actually changed my car, and I was like, okay. Yeah, I changed my car, and then things just kind of like picked up from there. And so it's not like I even have all the money in the world right now, but somehow these shows are happening. Somehow I'm able to produce quality work. You know, quality over quantity. I don't even care how long it takes me to do something. I'd rather do it right than to just give like, you know, a shabby thing, because at the end of the day, every single creative cloud piece is literally like a piece of me. So the show last year was like a glimpse into my space, you know, and even this is also like a glimpse into my space. So I have to give something that I would like to even go and watch. And you know, some people might be like, why do you even put so much energy into, you know, ambience, where it looks like all these things? Just do like a normal thing, and it doesn't matter. Just people should just come and like listen to you. But I have to do what is inside of me. Like I have to produce what is inside, and yeah, that's just it. So up next we have Jeremy with Just Like Me.
I was so engrossed in the story. I almost forgot I was up next. Yeah? Yeah, I'm good. How's the guitar looking out? Can't hear it. Okay, so this next song is, how will I describe it now? It's more like about imperfection. I think it ties in nicely with, you know, all we've been hearing tonight. So hope you enjoy it. You ready? Sorry. Good? Okay. Sorry, Nigeria is happiness. Okay. Bring out my camera phone, take a selfie with the house I dream to own. I drive to work alone and leave the windows up like the AC's on. See, all I really want is to give my wife and kids the life I never had. Electricity's a luxury. I probably should have gone with that low degree. You see, you told some lies, paid some bribe, compromised just like me. Lost some bets, oh someday. Not perfect, just like me. A fan of MTV, infatuated with the 70s. I'm always on my phone. The days I stay at home and drink alone. Addicted to the good life. My bank account still affects my pride. Before you run your mouth, it's best I let you know that without a doubt you told some lies, paid some bribe, compromised just like me, lost some bets, oh someday, not perfect just like me. Yeah, 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 yeah. Bring it down. If it was up to me, we'd live a life with no insecurities. We're only human, that's the way it is. Put it in a song so I can tell you this. You told some lies, paid some bribe, compromised just like me. Lost some bets, oh someday you're not perfect just like me. Yeah. Just like me. Thank you.
I didn't know I was up again. Please, can Torpedo come? Because this next one is a bit.
Good evening again. I mentioned this, Torpedo Mascal, and this is my first event since the Poetry Union kicked me out of the group. I took it personal because to them, they were kicking me out of my bread and butter. For instance, recently at the American inauguration, the love of poetry was heightened because of Amanda Gorham. Everywhere they were sending in for events and all of that. But the Poetry Union removed my name. So now if they're looking for a poet, I'm not allowed to put forth. But I am going to revel in this spoken word. Bros, no, don't go anywhere. I like what you are doing. In fact, I'm going to enter the music. I'm going to enter the music. I'm going to shock them inside the music. This is what they banned me for. That you can't be doing music and poetry. The two are still seeing the old man's face. The two, Mr. Mascal, don't join. Why can't I? Why can't I put spoken word in music? Why can't I blend and infuse it? Why, if I want to, can't I choose it? And now it's a gift, they say I should lose it. I told them, you guys can cruise it. Take your poetic license and lose it. As for me, I'll infuse it. I'll put the music right jam into the music, and the music. Spoken word poetry, flowetry. It's who you are, and you know because you know it's thee. And thee are supposed to be like you. There is no one on the planet that is quite like you, Let me give you a little hint. There is no one 7 billion that has your fingerprint. Oh! And it's not people who are living on Earth. Those 700 billion that have gone to birth. Woo! There's no one who is quite like you, has your voice, has your choice, do it quite like you. So best thing that you can do, everybody else is taking, why not be you? I beg, put this music inside, make it blend them, make it keep alive. Yeah, and let it sound really funky, because I love the music, I'm a music junkie. Oh, those guys, they don't even know I was happy. That their poetic license was restraining me. Every time I went there, I had to be arranging C. I had to make sure that I went into the rhythm, making sure that I was given, making sure I was forgiven. Meanwhile, man, I had my own style. When I do my poetry, me and they smile. But those guys, they're always picking me down. That old man was saying, man, you are supposed to frown. Bow down to the thing that you are given. I rap like this because I know I've been forgiven. And everything I have and everybody except the new. There is nobody can tell me what I am supposed to do. And I'll be true to do. And everybody says, this guy, who is really, really you? I told them I can really strike a nerve. Well, if I'm not doing poetry, what I'll do is spoken word. I also chose to wear this t-shirt today to kind of give homage to Fela, because honestly speaking, what he did was far further than his time, honestly speaking. Now they're calling him a prophet. But what he did was he used his craft and his music, put it into Afro, and then he infused it. He was abusing Buhari and Obasanjo, made it rhyme into the rhythm. So that guy was not very sure. Did he abuse me? That's what he did. And he used it loosely. And then he went against the norm. He married 26 girls on one dawn. Who had ever done that? He says it's like that. And you know, in his republic, the time was 1 hour much later. Did you know? Yes. If you enter Kalakuta Republic, it has its own time. So I'm paying homage to the things that he had done. He told us that you can do your work and have fun. He told us you can use your music as a voice. It's not even particular. You have a choice. You can do what you do and do it. No one else can complain. He says, is that I'll form another name. He says you do high life, you do, and he says, you know what, I do Afrobeat, and that is how I choose it. They said, this guy, you are not going to heaven. You married more than 2 chicks. The guy married 27. And then he went and divorced 11. And he said, guys, waiting the level. Even now, people, they joke. That was the first guy that came to the stage with live smoke. Baba Mieda, we hail you. Not because you are more, but because you decided to be well you. And that is how we are. Everybody, you are at par with a star. Even if you have a bad scar, it is part of you, at par with your bar. There is no one quite like you. He brought the message, and that is why I gave the 38, hoping that some of you can relate. Some of you have gone through many, many bad things, and God hasn't told you about the other sad things. And He hasn't told you that what you're going through is to make you true, to make you you. They will talk about you after you have gone. They will talk about the way you had your fun. And they will hail the son of your son, even though you have gone, but you are not yet done. The way I talk about Fela today, did he know that it would be like this way? But he named himself Anikola Kukuti, meaning I can't die. Do you suit me? And every time we talk about another person, that person is not dead. Yeah? And when we talk about another person, that person is just not dead. So some of you guys sitting here, consumed with panic, consumed with fear, thinking that life is about how much you make, thinking about, I really want to be real and not fake, thinking about heaven that you're not sure you will make, thinking about things that you shouldn't just break. Look, the best thing that you can do for you is look inside you and be you. True? The best thing you can do for you is look inside of you, be you. You. Thank you.
Shirts. I was actually going to wear a different shirt. The shirt for this. But then my friend Michael, no, I need the music because to help me for this next one. My friend Michael actually made this shirt for me and I feel like it's quite cool. So thank you, Michael. I really like it. Where are you? I can't see you, but I really like it anyway. I turned 28 on the 28th actually. Yeah. So when people look at me, they feel like I just left high school. I'm not, or I'm entering uni, but I'm not. Like, I'm actually 28 years old. This next one. So, how will I start it? Okay, so I went for a program in 2016, and I really don't have a reason. Okay, so I didn't realize that I went for that program because of something that happened, but later on I realized that that's actually kind of what drove me there. So I went for a program. My sister forced me. She pushed me. She's like, Amanda, you have to go for this program. And let me just start from the light one. So I love music. I really, really love music. Like, I love music. And I used to be a hoarder of music. I could download so many songs. I literally had like up to 30,000 songs. Yeah, and I would never delete anything. Never, ever, ever. I'm very broad. Like, I can listen to anything because I love every single genre of music. But then it was so bad that I couldn't even listen to some songs when my mom was there because she would just be like, Blood of Jesus, I'm praying for you, this child. I didn't know how bad it was. But then my sister said I should go for the program, and I was so scared to go for that program because I was like, they will come and what? Cast out demons. Honestly, those things, it was not really my thing. But then something started happening before I went for that program. And I found out that I deleted my whole playlist. Something that I will never do in a million years. Yeah, I deleted my whole playlist. And then I found myself downloading lots of gospel songs because I just felt like, let me just really even listen to these gospel songs and then let's just see how it really goes. And then I went for the program. On the first day, the first teaching, like I said, it's so hard to get my attention, but the first teaching, I was so glued. Like, it's crazy. They really got my attention. I literally listened to the whole thing, to the very end. I took notes. Not really like a normal person. I had a lot of drawings there, but I still took notes. And I think that's where like a new phase for me started, a new journey started. I kind of started finding myself again. So it's almost like I was in a loophole for a very long time, 2016. But then after the program, something changed. Honestly, I would never go out to give a testimony or do all those type of things because a lot of things are not really my thing. I'm not going to lie. But after the program finished, usually people come out to give testimonies and all that. And I came out, I was crying, and like I was sobbing, I was crying. Like I said, I don't really like crying. In fact, maybe like the first 2 stories, I wanted to cry, but no. But I cried. It was terrible. Like I was crying. I couldn't even open my eyes because I'm like, Amanda, this is shameful. You are crying in front of how many people? Like, shame on you. And by the time I opened my eyes, I actually saw my mom kneeling down, almost rolling on the floor, saying, "Thank you, Jesus." And I'm like, was that really bad? And I see why I say that, or rather, why I said that. I had crazy friends, and if my mom felt that way about me, then she shouldn't really know what my friends are like because she would question so many things. And in the midst of those my friends, I was the saint. So just imagine how intense it was. So that's really where the journey started. And honestly, after the program, I didn't even know how to be myself. I didn't know how to have conversations with friends anymore. Like something new was happening. I would literally wake up at midnight and find myself praying. Not because I chose to wake up by that time, but because something just woke me up by that time, really. I felt very easy and light, to be quite honest. I felt very easy and light. I didn't feel like I had to do anything. I really wasn't even interested in doing anything anymore. I felt like I was finally free from those things. When people don't understand the concept of spirituality or what actually really means to be a Christian, they look at it like, oh my God, it's so boring, it's bondage, it's this and that and that. But then by the time you really understand it, you find out that it's actually true freedom. Because, I mean, the Bible says, who the Son sets free is free indeed. And honestly, I began to understand what true freedom felt like. Like, I felt like nothing really held me down anymore. But then, something actually happened in 2016. So, this one is a bit hard. So, in 2015, I was dating someone, and it was actually okay. So I feel like for the longest time, I just dated the wrong people. Maybe they were not even the wrong. It just wasn't the right time. It just wasn't it, and I just found myself in a very somehow relationship, and I didn't even know why I stayed or why I was there. Honestly, this relationship wasn't long; it was like 5 months or 4 months, thereabouts. But then I found myself in it, and I was in a very bad place. So a lot was going on at home, like it was really bad, and at that point, because I wasn't even really drinking or smoking or doing all those things at that point, but I didn't have any other escape, to be quite honest. And then, because of, should I say, how progressive I got, I was very knowledgeable when it came to sexual things, but I had never done anything. But my friends just felt like, Amanda is just a very sexual person, but I really wasn't. And sometimes people will go on and do certain things just because they felt like Amanda had done something, and I did not even do anything. In fact, some of my friends actually did some things, and they're like, oh, they did this. I'm like, really? Wow. I mean, I'm just there like, interesting. I've never even done this before in my life. And then they'll come and ask me so many sexual questions. Somehow I have answers. I don't know how I know this thing, but I just know it. But I had never done anything. So in 2015, I said, okay, you know what? This virginity thing doesn't really make much sense. So I'm just going to should I use the word give it up? And I don't know. I was just looking for an escape because I just things were so chaotic. I didn't even know what to do, who to run to, and in as much as one might think of suicide, I mean, I've thought of it, but I love myself so much to kill myself. Honestly, I think it would be really bad. No, it's not. Nah. But I was trying to look for some sort of escape, and so I met a guy. We weren't even dating, and then that was actually the first person I actually accepted. But it was just there. So it wasn't even a thing of this guy. I've heard people say this thing, the first person you sleep with, can never get rid of the person. Man, the person doesn't even exist in my head because I wasn't there really. But then the second person, so we were actually dating, and because of how much I was trying to escape for anything, I was up for literally anything. And then at that point, I would actually, I think that was the first time I didn't spend Christmas with my family because I just didn't even want to be around anybody. I was like, I'm far away. I'm just going to move far away from everybody. And I spent Christmas with the guy. In fact, that was the first time I didn't spend New Year with my family. I spent New Year with the guy. And it's not like the person was the best person. I'm telling you, that was such a trashy relationship. My goodness, it was proper trash. Proper trash. But I just found myself there, and I felt like, okay, maybe this is the best I can do. So let me just remain in it. And it got to the point where we just used to go according to the flow, really. I wouldn't really say the relationship had an end point or a purpose or a goal per se. It was just we're dating and that's that. Honestly, the person treated me like trash, but then my self-esteem was still not even the best. So I accepted the trash because I'm like, maybe Amanda, that's the best you can do. So just accept it. And then I got pregnant. And I was like, God, what am I going to do? I know when you see all those posts that say, if you're sleeping with someone, sleep with someone that you can get married to, just in case. And that's literally the first thing I thought about. I was like, this guy, you can't even be the father of my child because no, it's not going to happen. Lie. And I remember the day I found out, we actually drove somewhere to take a test, and then we found out, and I was like, okay, what's going to happen now? And then I don't know, he was just saying so many things, and I just knew it was a lie. So he was like, oh, you can just give birth and we give it to my mom, travel, and you live your life. And I just knew that was a lie. Like, it's a lie. It's just, it's not going to happen. It's a lie. That's this thinking lie. And then I was like, Amanda, see, like, do you know, man, I didn't tell, like, I'm sure, I don't know, I know my mom is watching, like, she's going to be so shy. I didn't even tell my sister, I'm sure she's going to be like, what? But I didn't even know how to share the information because I just felt like, man, Amanda, you're not even established enough, and this type of nonsense is happening. Like, this is literally going to ruin your whole life because you're still looking for a very good job. Things are not even, like, right at this point in time, so you can't bring a child into this, like, type of relationship, or, like, it doesn't make any sense. And when I was talking about, plans for what is going to happen, he was like, and he was like faking, like, started faking tears and all that, and I'm like, see, my spirit is not agreeing with what you're saying. This thing is a lie. I'm like, you know what? We are going to figure out how to take it out, and I just need to move on with my life. And, like, I think at that point, it just made me turn to a person who could literally just break up with someone and I get so cold, because that's just how the relationship was. Like, after that, I got so cold. Like, it felt like I was heartless, but that was not even the case. Well, because of that whole scenario, I became so cold. So I remember when, took it out, and I think we broke up. Actually, I went to redemption camp at that point in time, because even the job I was working, I was like, everything was trash. So I told my mom, said, oh, she's going to redemption camp, and I said, yeah, sure, I'm going to follow her. So we went there, and I think that's when I summoned courage to actually call it quits, like, for real. Like, you break up, but the person is in your space. The person can't even allow you to breathe, so the person always kind of comes back. But I found the space to actually break up with this guy and move on. And then I realized that I hadn't really forgiven him when I went for this program. And it's something that I had to consciously pray about, because every time, like, I think, like, his name comes up, or, like, something comes up about him, or he just flashes through my mind, I'm like, God, I hate this guy with my whole being, to be quite honest. Not because, I don't like it when females, like, blame the guy solely because you were there when, it was happening. So it's not like you're not married. But, for the fact that he just wasn't sincere about what was really going to happen, even if, I decided not to take it out. Like, it just, I don't know, like, things just kept on, like, crossing my mind, and I think that's where the anger came from. So I was so angry. But then, when I went for the program, I felt a lot of relief. But it didn't come at once. It came slowly. At first I thought I had forgiven him, which I honestly did, until he sent me a message and he was like, oh, he's sorry about what happened, blah, blah, blah. We should come back together. I'm like, come back together with who? In fact, I think I insulted his whole life, his whole everything. Like, I really insulted him. But then I had to really pray about it, because I'm like, Amanda, you can't be stuck in this, you can't be stuck in this place. So you have to move on, and you have to like move on. Sometimes we say we've moved on, but we've not moved on. We're literally still there. So it's like, Amanda, you have to move on. So you might not even like this guy, but it's very much in your life. Like, when I was a teenager, I've always had older friends. I don't know how. Honestly, I don't even know why. But I've always had older friends. Like, even when I was a teenager, I had friends like in their 20s. So I've always had older friends. And then there was actually a friend that she would tell me, Amanda, I don't think you should really be dating till you get into uni. And I'm like, what do you mean by that? It doesn't really make any sense, blah, blah, blah. But then now I actually understand that, because when you date someone, even if you don't have sex with the person, you guys somehow have shared something. Everything is it's not all about sex, to be quite honest, but you've shared something, so you don't even realize when you've not actually removed the person out of your life. You can say you don't like the person anymore, you don't love the person anymore, but that person somehow is like still there somewhere, and you're literally allowing things the person has done or whatever to like affect even your next relation, or affect you like normally, like something might even happen, and because of that thing that happened with that person, you would react based off of how, I don't know, there's just something. So I told myself that, okay, Amanda, you actually need to start detoxing yourself of those like people you've dated. So I had to, and it's actually a hard process. So I mean, it might be easy to talk about these things now because, but when you're walking through things, it's really, really, it's hard, and it's very risky because you wouldn't even know when you want to remain there, because to walk out of something, you have to go through a lot of pain, and that pain would always be like a hindrance, because you wouldn't, because already you start thinking of the pain that you would have to go through, so you're just like, you know what, I'd rather stay here than actually think of what it's going to feel like to be on the other side. So for a while, I'm like, okay, Amanda, I'm okay in this, my pain, my whatever. I don't want to move to the other side. But then I'm like, Amanda, if you actually want to live a fulfilled life, you actually have to move to the other side. So I had to move myself, like even in certain characters, like in things, even in being shy. I had to move myself because so I'm feeling cold. Anyway, because I just knew that God, there's a different role that God wanted me to play. Like I said, life is in phases, and this phase, shyness is actually not part of it. Like, shyness is actually not part of it. I think that's it for this one. Let me check if I have any other thing. So I think next we have Olu with we have Oluchi, sorry, with Dear Heart.
Hi, everyone. My name is Oluchi Obasi, and I think this song that I'm about to perform is actually apt considering what Amanda just said, because the title of the song is Dear Heart, and it has a bit of Igbo at the chorus, which I'll interpret now before I get there. So the chorus says, Aga rilao, nodi ofuebe, etinye kwalam nan sobu. And it's me talking to my heart, saying, Agarila, stop pacing about, stay one place, don't put me into trouble. So I can totally understand that feeling of, because I wrote it when I just couldn't get a certain person out of my head. And I wanted to. I knew this person was not right for me. Some people might have. I've heard people tell me that, are you sure? You should have probably tried it out. Maybe it may have worked. But I knew this person wasn't it. So this song was me reminding myself to not put myself into trouble. So enjoy their heart. It's a letter to my heart. Dear heart, why do you flutter for the wrong person? Why do you make me think the things I think? Yeah, when you know he's no good for me. Dear heart, why you they push me to the wrong person? Why you they paint pictures you know no be true, when you know he's no good for me? His smile has cut right through, and now you've gone crazy. You're thinking about nonsense, living us in stitches. You gotta stop this game. We've gotta stop this game. I can't rely, oh, be my carilla, Nadi fuepe, eti ekwalam nan so buwe. I can't rely, I can't rely, oh, be my carilla, Nadi fuepe, eti ekwalam nan so buwe. I can't rely, their heart. How do we take care of this mess you've made? How do we get rid of the thoughts that I had, when you know he's no good for me? Dear heart, I hope the next time it's the right person, so I don't have to say I told you so. Yeah, when we see he's no good for me. His smile has cut right through, and now you've gone crazy. You're beating yourself over, leaving us in stitches. We've got to stop this game. I can't rely, oh, be my carilla, Nadi fuepe, I sing Nadi fuepe, eti ekwalam nan so buwe. I can't rely, yeah, yeah. I can't rely, oh, be my carilla, Nadi fuepe, I sing Nadi fuepe, eti ekwalam nan so buwe. I can't rely, oh, I can't rely, oh, be my carilla, Nadi fuepe, eti ekwalam nan so buwe. I can't rely, thank you.
So up next we'll have Ini explain her painting, and then we'll have Olu with made it.
Hello everyone. Wow. Okay, hi, my name is Ini, and I'm just going to talk about this painting very quickly. Um, so I asked Amanda to share her story with me, and she told me, parts of it in summary. And this painting is basically about not just her, but all of us, how as we go through life, we become different people and we evolve with the different things that we go through. We evolve as we grow, we evolve as we meet people, and somehow we get it in our heads that inside of us is murky waters. But the flowers are a representation of the beauty that lies inside each and every person, regardless of what you think you've been through, regardless of the person that you think you've been, or regardless of the person that you think you are. So that's the meaning of the painting in a nutshell.
I hope I won't. Hi. Whew. Oh my days. This is so intense for me because this is literally how I envisioned my life. This is the dream of an artist to see people be raw, be who they are. Just he said I hope you wouldn't cry, and I don't want to cry, but like literally that's usually my thing. I'll just suddenly. But this song is called Made It. It's from my recent EP from September, as well as God Save the Queen, the first song. It's speaking to, would I say, the abstract like experience of life that I go through, we all go through. There are things we know and there are things that just remain a mystery forever. We come and we go and things happen and we don't know, and sometimes we know, and it's just a mix of everything. So that was kind of what this song was about for me. So yeah, it's Made It. What and why? We all exist for one thing. Who are you saving? Digital craze in man's crowd. Earth is all popping. Who made it? Why are we enjoying Earth? Who made it? Why are we enjoying Earth? There's no doubt in my head now. Like, how do I live? How do I live? I have no fear. I'm sorry. We're okay with that. Who made it? Why are we enjoying Earth? Who made it? Why am I enjoying Earth? Enjoying Earth. Yeah, yeah. Why are you enjoying Earth? Enjoying Earth. Thank you so much, guys.
Sorry. We're almost done. Yeah, we're almost done. So last year, God was really teaching me discipline. I realized I couldn't really digest food properly, and it was so bad. Like, I'll have really bad acid refluxes and whatnot. And so in uni, I actually added a lot of weight, like so much weight, and I didn't know what that was doing to my body really. But then it really showed last year. Well, not really last year, honestly. It's been there, but I just ignored it. And then somehow I was just on IG, and then I saw someone. Is it here? Yes, she's still here. So I saw someone who sells herbs, like healthy herbs, for like detox and stuff. And I just said, okay, you know what? I'm gonna just try this thing out. You know, it will be fine. So I reached out and I told him, because I did. Okay, so I've been feeling like not well. If I did an MRI, and then there was something wrong with, I don't know how to pronounce it properly, but the lower something anyway. And I was not even scared. I just felt like, okay, my back hurts me sometimes bending down is a bit whatever. But then last year someone just said I should reach out to him, so I reached out and we got talking. And then he was like, oh, can you do fruits and veggies for a long time? Can you do this and that and that? And honestly, it was a struggle. But then I realized that I'm such a foodie. It's terrible. But I realized that we don't even know when we're already like bridging the line of gluten. So some things feel normal when we eat food. But sometimes you're just being a glutton, to be quite honest. And I didn't even know that was actually, I had already even reached that line, because we just mask it under, this person is such a foodie, but that's really not what it is. So I started juicing a lot. I started doing like smoothies and juices, and at first it was so tough. And I'm like, God, you can just easily heal me. But, you know, honestly, it was true discipline, because I never knew that I could do such a thing. Like, I was literally on veggies, like vegetable juice and fruits for a while. In fact, when I started, it was not easy. Like, I also indulge. In fact, there was one time I'm so experimental when it comes to food. I actually like going to new places just to try out like something nice. Like, yeah, just to try out something nice. And it was lockdown, so a lot of people started cooking. So I said, okay, look at this place, like lovely place, like the food looked really, really nice. I said to order, and I had the worst purging experience ever. Like, I felt I was about to pass out. That's when I knew that, okay, Amanda, this thing, just take a bit, because you don't even know like what their house looks like, and you're ordering food from them. So that's when I knew that, okay, Amanda, I just need to like chill. And I really said, just like I was so into. I think I really got into it June, July. So I started off like, I think ended of April, beginning of May. I think I don't know, something like that. But I really like got into it maybe beginning of August or like middle August or something. And I'm like, okay, Amanda, you hate the way you feel every time you eat certain things. So just be disciplined and just shut your mind, and you can do this. After all, you've eaten like almost everything in this soul. So what are you even missing out? You're not missing out on anything, to be quite honest. And then I started, and then I lost so much weight, and I was like, wow. And I started feeling better. And then I said, okay, so during Christmas time, I thought to myself, okay, why don't you just start trying to see if what you're even doing works, and then, or if it's even working. So I started eating like some things that I know when I eat it, I'll feel a certain, I'll feel sick or something. And then I started, and actually, like, it was okay, digested all right. However, it's not like it's perfect yet, because I'm still on the road to recovery. But it really just taught me discipline, to be honest. It really taught me discipline. And I think the last thing I'll just talk about is, spirituality. So when I really started my work with God in 2016, it was different and exciting. I mean, I've given my life to Christ so many times, but this one was just very different. And this time, it was, I don't know, I felt like I was really, 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 like God was really concerned. There was one time I was talking to a friend, and I'm like, oh, this program, you should really come for it. By the way, we're still friends. I'm like, oh, you should really come for it, blah, blah, blah. And man, I still didn't even have like a job. And I got the insult of my life. And I was like, oh my God, because I don't like arguing with friends. I feel like it doesn't really make any sense. Arguing with friends is not really my thing. Like, every other part of my life can be chaotic, but you're my friend. Like, we don't do stuff like that. So when that happened, honestly, I felt quite sad. And I'm like, God. So I didn't even feel sad that she was insulting my dignity. I'm like, why should we even get to that point? And shortly after that, a job offer actually came up. Honestly, I didn't even apply for it anytime. The guy was just like, oh, do you want to work here, blah, blah, blah. And it's something I was interested in. And then at that point, God was just trying to show me that just forget about everything around you, you're on a different type of journey, and you begin to find new things that really entertain you. So at that point in time, I found out that I really loved evangelizing. Now, this is very shy manner that I wouldn't talk to anybody in a normal day. But I found myself evangelizing. Like, we used to go out almost every Sunday and around my area, and it was amazing. I was excited. I was so excited because when I go out, we'll talk to people, and I'm finding myself talking to them about issues they have that I didn't even know they had. Like, it's like God was literally just speaking through me, and it was amazing because I've never done such a thing before. I used to be of the opinion that I tell people that I'm not a marketer. Like, I don't know how to market anything to anybody. I just talk about things I like, and if you happen to like it too, oh well. So I think at that point, maybe I really started loving God very well. Maybe that's why I was because I can't market this phone to you. I really can't. If you like it, you like it. If you don't like it, you don't like it. That's just how it is. But our relationship with God really, really changed. And so I went for another program in Kaduna, and that was so intense. As a matter of fact, I think that was the first time I actually saw an angel, and I was like, oh my God, what's happening here? I got back to Lagos, and then Lagos is, man, the atmosphere of Lagos is very thick. You don't even know. It's a different level. And when I go back to Lagos, man, like sometimes I'm sleeping and I'm literally hearing people having conversations about somebody's life, like how they're literally going to destroy that person. And I'm just like, God. I'm like, God, you know what? I don't even think I want this anymore. I'm okay. Like, I'm okay how I was before. Like, I don't think I'm ready for this type of thing. In fact, sometimes I'm like, God, I don't want to say anything. I don't want to say anything. Like, just, it's a little bit frightening, to be quite honest. But, I just realized that, I started enjoying my relationship with God more. I started fellowshipping with the Holy Spirit more. It was just a very different experience. So even, my thought process was just different. So the way I would normally react to something, before, it just became very, very different. However, when you really start getting into some places, in fact, there was one time I was sleeping and I felt like I was literally about to die because I had prayed some types of prayers, and because when you're in a position where you're like, God, I want to get out of this place, and you know that it's not normal because it's just not normal. So I was praying about it, and as I was sleeping, I just felt someone holding my leg and dragging my spirit out of my body. I could feel everything. They're like, oh my God, she's dead. And inside me, I don't even know what happened. I was just praying, and somehow, I woke up, and then I called the pastor that I usually used to pray with, and we prayed and all that. And crazy things have happened. Really, crazy things have happened. I remember one time I was also, I don't know, it always happens when I'm sleeping. I was sleeping, and you know how you watch a scary movie and you hear a faint scream, and you faint I was sleeping one time and I literally felt like someone was running to my room, and the person opened the door and the person was panting heavily, and the person came to the side of my bed, and a very soft hand just touched my leg, and that's how I woke up. So sometimes we don't realize what God is saving us from. We just feel like, oh, maybe some people might feel like I'm so broke, I can't even do anything, but you literally don't know what God just saved you from yesterday. You might feel like, I feel like maybe I can't get my life together, or I'm so scattered or something, but still, you really don't know what God saves us from every single day. That was when I realized that the things are happening around you and you're not even seeing half of it. So it became really intense. I don't even know if I should say this one, but there was one time I actually had a dream, and I saw how the soul, spirit, and body actually kind of forms and comes. Very, very intense stuff, but it just made me realize that I don't really have any other option. Honestly, I feel like I've been injected, I'm a God junkie, because I can't even do any other thing. I can't even say I want to do any other thing or meet any other quote unquote deity or God. I can't even do any other thing because I'm literally stuck there. I can't leave because all the prayers and knowledge that I've been open to has literally set an invisible trap for me. And it's like, okay, Amanda, now that you're knowledgeable about certain things, it's time for you to start, doing what I actually wanted to start doing. So yeah, I think that's the end. That's it. So I just want to thank everyone. No, I'll do this after, actually. I'll say a few things after they're done. So we'll have Oluchi with.
So this song is titled Initial Gra Gra. And it's also personal. I was beginning to like this guy. And unlike the last time, I didn't think he was the wrong person. But this time around, I was wondering, I hope all of this is not initial gra gra. And you know how when something new starts, or when we start to do something new, there's this zeal, there's this energy that makes everything seem like fierce or seem like exhilarating. So this was me thinking that with this guy that I'm liking now, that I think that maybe he's the one. I hope it's not initial gra gra. Enjoy. But boy, we just met and I really like you. I know we just met, but this feeling is too strong. You say the right things and you know just what to do. I hope that this will no be dream because I like you bad. Initial gra gra, I hope it's more than that. Initial gra gra, baby don't play me for a fool. Initial gra gra, I hope it's more than that. Initial gra gra, initial gra gra. With you, I dey feel like the king. Yeah. Time know the move when I'm with you, boy, boy, boy. You dey take every bottle like dream madness. Oh, initial gra gra, I hope it's more than that. Initial gra gra, baby don't play me for a fool. Initial gra gra, I hope it's more than that. Initial gra gra, initial gra gra, I hope say we go past this happy phase and get to the fight, and we'll pass those two, and we'll grow in love. Initial gra gra, I hope it's more than that. Initial gra gra, baby don't play me for a fool. Initial gra gra, I hope it's more than that. Initial gra gra, initial gra gra, initial gra gra, initial gra gra, Thank you.
Hi guys. So, following the trend of toxic relationships and relationships that we believe that the people are not right for us, except that this time around we are not moving on though. This is Stuck on You. I'm blinded by your touch. I'm stuck up on your love. Oh, this is the last time that I let you in now. But I still open when you knock, and I answer when you call, and I come running to your arms. Yeah. You're like a magnet, you pull me, you put a spell on me. I don't know what it is, but I just can't get over you. And I know that this love is toxic, but I'm wanting you. I don't lose form, I don't lose my way, girl, I'm stuck on you. I'm stuck on you. Yeah. See, what do you want from me? Look what you done to me. See, I be giving you all this love for free, and every single beat of me I give. You know I like it when you call my name. Say you love me, say you never leave, and toss me out and then you pull me in, and I come willingly, I don't resist. I tell myself no more, but I still stay, cause I cannot be without you, babe. I wanna hold you every time and place, even though I know your love is fake. You put a spell on me. I don't know what it is, but I just can't get over you. And I know that this love is toxic, but I want you. I don't lose form, I don't lose my way, girl, I'm stuck on you. I'm stuck on you. You put a spell on me. I don't know what it is, but I just can't get over you. And I know that this love is toxic, but I'm wanting you. I don't lose form, I don't lose my way, girl, I'm stuck on you. Stuck on you. You know I like it when you call my name, toss me out and then you pull me in, and say you love me, say you'll never leave, and I come willingly, I don't resist. She tell myself no more, but I still stay, cause I cannot be without you, babe. I wanna hold you every time and place, even though I know your love is fake. You put a spell on me. I don't know what it is, but I just can't get over you. And I know that this love is toxic, but I'm wanting you. I don't lose form, I don't lose my way, and I'm stuck on you. I'm stuck on you. Stuck on you. You put a spell on me. I don't know what it is, but I just can't get over you. And I know that this love is toxic, but I'm wanting you, all of you. Oh, I don't lose form, girl, I'm stuck on you. Stuck on you. Thank you.
Yeah, so we're done. Thank you guys so much. Man, I'm glad this is over because like this took a lot of my energy, really. Because man, honestly, like before this show, every time I thought about the show, I felt like I couldn't breathe because I was just like, God, what's this? Like, I literally felt like I was losing air because I feel like I have so much panic attack and anxiety at the same time. And it was terrible. But I'm glad this is over. So, I mean, God wanted me to start this particular segment of our live show. So, the next one, it might not even be about this type of life story. It might just be about one particular phase of the stretch. I don't know. It depends on who the person is. But, yeah, so we'll let you know when the next one is. Yeah, we'll let you know when the next one is. So thank you guys for coming. I appreciate it. Yeah, and I'd like to say thank you to everyone. I know you will not like this, but I'd like to say thank you to DMM. And I'd like to say a big thank you to Tunji and everyone else helping out. Torpedo, I don't know if it's still there, but thank honestly, he really encouraged me. We met last week Sunday, and he was like, okay, this thing I've been doing. And then we spoke a little bit, and he was like, no, I should do it. And then he shared like a few stories with me, and he really encouraged me, to be quite honest. And yeah, and I also like to thank you to Tosin for like praying with me. I actually didn't tell my sister the context of this because, man, I was so scared. I was frightened though. It's over now, I can sleep very well. So, well, the next one will be me, so I can sleep very well. But God was saying that in 5 years' time, I have something to share.